Hello everyone, my name is Sheffrey and welcome to my first Let's Play series here on YouTube. I'll be taking it slow, hopefully give a good pace so new players can follow along and learn, while advanced players can enjoy some quality background noise. I hope to make this a long series starting twice a week, so without wasting any more of your time, welcome to Satisfactory. Now, the most important thing I like to take care of when I first drop in is actually we're going to go gather some wood. We're going to use that for biofuel to get us some power for right off the bat. Now, we're not going to be building too many machines to start off with, so we don't need a ton. But we're going to head off in the west direction from where we started. It'll spawn you in different places. If you end up spawning in near that giant rock, you're going to be heading off to the west. We are starting in the tutorial phase, so we can't open our map just yet, but we will be able to soon. Now, you're going to want to avoid those gas clouds to start off with, as they will damage you quite a bit. You can grab some nuts on our way. We're actually going to use these for healing in case we take any damage.
This is one of multiple edibles we have detected in your vicinity, which are within approved nutritional and medical categories as established by R&D. A new research tree can now be accessed in the MAM.
Just going to grab some nuts. All right, so you're going to make your way to this forest here. It is directly west of the rock arch. And you're going to see a whole bunch of these pieces of wood on the ground. We're going to go ahead and grab all these that we can. We'll grab the leaves too. They can be used for biomass as well. Just grab anything you can here. Just keep your eye out for anything that might want to... there are things that want to attack you in this game. I'm not seeing anybody just yet, but... oh, there's one over there. That is a spitter. He's going to throw projectiles of fire at us. This guy's friendly. He's fine. We're just going to ignore that for now. That's a sphere in the middle. It is a work in progress item coming out a little bit later. As of right now, it doesn't actually do anything, so you don't have to waste your inventory picking it up. Even though it'll tell you, please pick me up. Alright, we're just going to kind of try and avoid him throwing his fire at us. Grab all these leaves. All these sticks on the ground. Yeah, Mercer Sphere, work in progress. Don't actually need it just yet. He is still throwing fire at us. How rude. Okay, so that should be enough wood to get us started. We've got almost 400 and 330 leaves. So we're going to head off now in the north direction. We're going to scan again for the iron ore. And we're actually going to head towards these three spots right here. A quick tip for if you want to move around really fast is while you're sprinting with a shift, you can hold down C to slide and then jump at the same time to kind of launch yourself through the air. I won't be doing that too much as I feel like it'll be a little bit jarring for you guys to watch. But if you are trying to move around the map early game really fast, that's an easy tip before you get vehicles, that is. Okay, so here is one of our first hostile mobs in the game, but they're not too hard to deal with. They will just kind of charge up at you, and you can just kind of jump. Literally right as they come at you, you can just kind of jump over them. Just gonna kind of give him a couple little bonks with the Xeno Zapper here. He's gonna run around in a few circles. Come here, sir. Hey. Oh, I thought he was gonna charge me there. Can you charge me? I was like, what's happening? Okay, give him one last little bonk. That should, oh, there we go. Couple last little bonks. He will ragdoll across the map, and we will pick up his hog remains. We're actually going to be using these for research once we get access.
Creature might shed light on how to increase chances of survival.
Well,
a new research tree can now be accessed in the MAM.
As she has graciously just explained for me, we will be researching in the MAM is it'll be a research tree where we can unlock all sorts of new fun items. So now that he has been dealt with, we are here in front of our 3 iron nodes. They are all, I believe they're all normal quality. Correct. So there are impure, normal, and pure nodes, and all will yield different amounts with miners on top of them. Normal's good enough to get us started. We don't need anything too crazy to get started. So first we have to go ahead and get these big rocks off the top of them.
Fourth objective, build the hub. Note, to complete this objective, the resources salvaged from the drop pod will be consumed.
Correct.
Caution, ensure the hub is built on spacious open terrain close to the presence of iron sources. Failure to do so will likely result in non-optimal progress.
Okay, so we got those off the top. That way now we can actually access the nodes themselves. And now our new goal is building the hub. So a good place to start off with in this episode, and I think in all future episodes, is if we hit tab to open our inventory, you go over to the right hand side here, you'll see a little black bar kind of show up in along the side here, almost like a vignette. I don't really know how to say that properly, but if you go ahead and click on that, you can open your to-do list, and it'll tell you how you want to enter your text, and it'll tell you how it'll show up here on the side. So we're just going to kind of go ahead and start filling in a couple things for us to do today, which would be obviously finishing the tutorial. Okay, there we go. We got our to-do list, and then we'll just add our little X's in as we go along. You can actually copy and paste. If you just don't want to, if you need to select things, you can cut, copy, paste, delete, whatever you need to do. Okay, so number one, build the hub. So we're going to look for a bit of a flat ground, probably about right here seems good. We can sort of build it near the back of this rock since it's going to be in the way of any of our building anyway. So we're going to go the hub. There we go. So obviously you only start off with a frame, and now we need to finish building it. So we're going to go ahead and go to the craft bench. We're going to start smelting some iron ingots from the ore that we picked up. All you have to do is tap space once and it'll craft, and it'll keep crafting for you until it runs out. And then we're going to take these iron ingots and we're going to put together some iron plates and some iron rods. Okay, so once you've made a handful of plates and some rods, you're going to go over here to the hub, where I've already put in the 10 rods that we're going to need. And you're going to hit upgrade hub. There we go. Now we got a bigger frame. So now that we've got that on, we're going to hub upgrade number 2. We're going to select the milestone, and it'll put our milestone up in the top right hand corner, so we always know what we're looking for. We actually already have what we need in order to send this next one off. So we're going to load this up, upgrade the hub again, which will give us a little box. Now we have our very first biomass burner, so we can actually start getting power. So we'll go to the hub, we'll set upgrade number 3 to go, and this will unlock us constructors, power poles, concrete screws, reinforced iron plates, and we'll be able to scan for limestone. So obviously we don't have everything we need for this one, as we're also going to need a quick setup for copper wire. So we're going to leave that milestone up in the top right hand corner so we always know what we need to do. So to get started on our mining setups, we obviously don't have access to the larger miners right now. So we're going to have to start off with just the portable hand miners. Now in order to make those, we're going to open our build menu. We're going to build an equipment workshop. We're going to put this, well, it doesn't really matter to be honest. We can put that over here towards the rocks as well, just so we're not taking up any more of our space. Put that right there. Just for now, all this stuff is going to get moved eventually once we actually unlock foundations to build on to really clean our factory up. Okay, I grabbed enough iron ore, so we were actually able to put together 4 portable miners. So we're going to go set one up on each of the nodes over here. And then the 4th one is going to go onto a copper node. So we're gonna have to open our inventory, put it in your hand, and then plop it right down on. Honestly, you can actually have more than one on a node, so you can honestly put them all on one if you want, just to save time. Oh, whoops. Sorry. 3. And then we're going to scan for copper ore. There should be a copper ore node right up on the hill here. And that's one of the reasons I like to start in this specific area is you get 3 iron nodes. You get the copper node right here up on the hill. And then you also have a limestone node right here as well. And that's going to come into play a little bit later once we need to make concrete. So we're just going to jump up the hill here. I'm not going to make that jump. You can, but I didn't. There should be another guy blocking it here. Hello, sir. So we're just going to take out our Xeno Zapper. I've realized I forgot to put it onto my hotbar. So we'll just get knocked by him real quick. That's okay. Doesn't do that much damage. You can just step off to the side when they charge at you. It's not a big deal. Okay, so we're going to go give him a few little bonks on the head. He's going to hide in the bush. We're going to take him out there. We're going to grab his remains. We're going to be using those in the MAM. Okay, so same thing with the copper. You got to knock the bigger piece off the top. We're going to pull out our portable miner. We're going to put it down. We're going to say what up to our factory manager. How's it going? We're going to run back over to our hub here. We're just going to make sure we have enough iron ingots to make a smelter, and then we'll just have the smelter make the rest of these for us. So if you want to know what you need for building, you can open your builder menu with Q, hover over what you're going to be building. So in this case, we're going to be making smelters, and hit this plus symbol. Now I'm going to want to making at least 2 to start, 1 for iron, 1 for copper. So I'm going to click that twice, and it's going to add it over on our to-do list here. So now you can see we need 10 iron rods and 16 copper wire. So we'll smelt up this copper ingot that we have. Okay, so I smelted up my copper and then I turned it into some wire. So now I should have enough. Oh, I have enough wire, but I don't have enough rods. Okay, so let's go make the rods really quick. Okay, rods are done. Now, I'm going to set the one up right over here. Pretty close by. We'll collect these bushes. Things cleaned up. Make it a little bit easier for setting our things up a little bit later. We'll be able to clear trees in the future once we unlock the chainsaw, but for now, they're just going to have to take up space. Now just be aware as well, when you cut down trees, they don't respawn. So once you cut them down, it is permanent. Bushes and everything do respawn unless you've built foundations over them. Let's just grab a few more bushes here. Get everything nice and cleaned up. Like I said, we're going to be taking things nice and slow here so you guys can follow along and learn. And it really just helps me too. I mean, I don't have a ton of hours in this game, so this would be my 4th time starting a new file. Okay, so smelter number 1. We're just going to set it up just like this for now. No big deal. We're going to move it shortly. Make sure so your orange is your input and your green is your output. We're going to make sure our output is facing in this direction. We're going to set this to do iron ingots. Throw the iron in that we can. Now, obviously, it doesn't have any power yet. So that's where this biomass fuel burner is going to come in handy. So in order to get some power, we're going to have to throw some biomass into our burner here. So we're going to start off by throwing in some wood. And then we will... Oh. Then we need to connect... Then we need to connect it. In order to do that, we're going to use power cables. But in order to do that, we need cables. So we're going to go back over to our crafting bench. We're going to see cables are made with copper wire. Good thing we made it a bunch of extra, so we can make some cables. And now we should be able to hook up power line to the smelter. And there we go. Now we're receiving 30 iron ingots per minute. Now this will only stack up to 100, so I'm going to have to come and empty this frequently. Okay, now that we got that set up, we're going to go check in our copper. We're going to unload that machine. We're going to make sure we get some more copper ingots. And then we should be good to move on to hub upgrade number 3. Where we have 20 iron sheets, 20 iron rods, and 20 copper wire. Okay, hub upgrade number 3. Here we go. 20 iron plates, 20 iron rods, 20 copper wire. Upgrade. Okay, so now we at least can use power poles, which are going to need concrete. And this is where the limestone is going to come into play. So we're going to need another portable miner. Although honestly, we can probably just take one of the ones off the iron for now. Okay, so we have portable miners on every node around us now. We're going to head on back to the hub and we're going to select hub upgrade number 4. Which is going to give us access to conveyor poles, conveyor belt Mark 1s, and more inventory slots. We need 75 iron plates, 20 iron rods, and 10 concrete. Okay, so I did a little bit of running around. I did some resource gathering and some refining. So now we should be able to at least set up our very first power pole. We're going to go ahead and we're just going to stick it right here for now. We're going to disconnect by opening button F, your dismantler. Don't you worry, you get everything back in this game. It's 100% refund cost. Now we're going to hook this biofuel burner up to this power pole, which will now give us a split of 4. So we can hook up this smelter over here and rehook that smelter back up back there. So now this one can be set to copper ingots and I don't have to hand refine those anymore.
A few moments later.
By now we should have enough materials to start our upgrade number 4. So we've got our 75 iron plates, we got our 20 cables, and we got our 10 concrete. We're going to upgrade the hub once again. Now the time comes where we're actually going to start to automate a few things. So we're going to need to make ourselves a constructor. So we're going to queue. We're going to queue up making 2 constructors. Which means we're going to need 4 reinforced iron plates and 16 cable. We're going to head over to the exit of this smelter right here. We're going to make our first constructor. Now in order to line it up nice and clean, we're going to hold down Control. And you'll see a green line there where that lets us know we have a perfectly clean line in between the machines. Once we get to building foundations, we'll also be using Control for snapping to the world grid so that no matter where in the world you're building, everything will always be able to connect up to each other perfectly. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that down. Doesn't need to be super far away. And then we're going to have to make a Mark 1 conveyor belt from this machine to that machine. And there we go. Now we're feeding our smelted iron right into a machine that we're going to set to make iron plates. However, we're also going to need to provide this with some power. So I'm just going to add a second power pole, as I'm going to run out of connections here really fast. And all this is just going to be temporary. It's going to look a little ugly for now. We'll clean it all up later. Okay, so I just set up the same thing for the copper wire over here. I actually had to move the smelter really quick because I didn't realize this rock was right in the way. So now this constructor is going to give us 30 copper wire per minute. Let me make sure we select this. There we go. So in order to do hub upgrade number 5 and unlock miners, we're going to need 75 rods, 50 cables, and 20 concrete. So in order to get to the cables easily, we're actually going to need to make another constructor. Add that to the to-do list. So we need 2 more reinforced iron plates and 3 more cables. And there we go. We've got a copper wire feeding into another constructor, making us our cables. So we should have 50 cables, no problem. Honestly, I think hub upgrade 5, the whole thing could be done just by hand. So we're just going to run over here. We're going to grab some more limestone to finish up the concrete. We'll do up the 75 rods. And we'll be completing the onboarding process for Satisfactory. Okay, that is officially everything we need for hub upgrade number 5. 20 concrete, 50 cables, and 75 iron rods.
Congratulations, you have unlocked Building Miner Mark 1. Building Storage Container. Hub feature Additional Biomass Burner. 10th objective, complete hub upgrade 6. Note, there are no notes.
Alright, we'll immediately pick hub upgrade number 6, which will finally give us access to biomass. So we don't need the cables anymore, so I ended up getting rid of that constructor. We'll leave the one that just does the copper wire now. So we finally have access to miners Mark 1, so we're going to have to go ahead and pick all these portable miners up. So we're going to want at least 2 miners, one for iron, one for copper. I should have enough for both. Now we're just going to rotate this around until it roughly lines up. It's not going to line up perfectly right now, but until it roughly lines up with our smelter there. And we're going to put a Mark 1 belt from the miner directly into the smelter. Now with this hub upgrade, we actually have 2 biomass burners on our hub now. So I can connect this one to, I'm gonna have to make another power pole. A 3rd power pole, just to make things easy. We'll connect this one to this one. There, now we go. Both of these feeding the same network. It's gonna be very gross power lines for now. We'll make these so much cleaner in the future, I promise. So we're still just gonna have to keep giving these wood until we've actually unlocked our biomass. Alright, I did a little bit of running around, unloading, loading, refining. Now we should be good to go on our finishing our hub upgrade to the very finish. And I believe this finishes off the tutorial. So I guess I kind of put the to-do list in the wrong order, but that's totally okay. Boom. Now we should have a little rocket coming down from the sky. I always like to watch this happen.
Congratulations, you have unlocked Building Motivational Message. Additional knowledge. Note.
I just like to watch this come down. There it is. Hello? Invisible rocket? There it is. Alright, so I definitely put these in all the wrong order, but that officially completes the hub and the tutorial. Now, the very first milestone we're going to want to go with is logistics. That's going to give us access to conveyor splitters and conveyor mergers, which is going to give us access to starting our iron line and starting our copper line. Let's go ahead and select this milestone. It'll tell us what we need. It's 150 iron plates, 150 rods, and 300 copper wire. Now, I really don't want to have to hand make all that stuff. So, we've got our iron rods still being made over there. I'm going to have to run up here and grab some more copper. And then we may just make the iron plates by hand. So we'll see you guys back here in a bit. Okay, so while we're waiting for all that stuff to finish refining, we're going to go ahead and make a bunch of biofuel. Biomass with our wood that we collected earlier. So there we go. Now we're going to load up our biofuel burners with actual biofuel, or biomass, I should say. And this should set us up with enough power. If it's only burning 6.67 per minute and we have 200, we have power for plenty of time. So while we're still waiting for everything to refine, I probably should have mentioned this earlier. You can still run around, make sure you grab all the bushes, any wood you see, make sure you grab that as well. But while we wait for all these things to grab, if you can see that little blue slug on the rock up there, I'm going to want to go ahead and grab him right now. And there's a yellow one up there. You can see we can't get that one yet because he's in the poison cloud, but we can get the blue one. The blue ones are easy. And the blue power slugs are going to be used for overclocking our machines. Okay, so we just grabbed that slug right there. We're going to go put him in storage for now because we don't have access to our MAM just yet. We're going to have to research him, and we're going to be turning him into power shards for underclocking and overclocking our machines. Actually, you don't need power shards for underclocking, only overclocking. So we're going to throw him into storage. We're also going to throw our colored flower petals in there. We won't be using those for a while. Same with the hog remains, just to keep our inventory a little bit less cluttered. Okay, sorry about that. I did let a little bit of time pass. I ended up getting a phone call there, but so like I was saying, while you're letting time pass, make sure you go around, make sure you're grabbing wood, leaves, anything you can use for fuel. But now we actually should have almost enough stuff to send ourselves into logistics, which will finally give us the splitters we need to, I'll basically rip apart everything we've already done and start fresh. So we're just going to go on into here. I think I can hand finish making these last little bit of iron plates, it looks like. I lied to you guys, I'm too short. So we'll just run over here. We'll grab them out of this constructor that I ended up switching over to plates after we had enough rods. We'll finally select our milestone and we can get started on our iron line. So we're going to throw in the iron plates, the iron rods, and the copper wire. And we finally get to hit the big red launch pod button. My favorite parts of the game right here. In 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Satisfying, just thunk.
Milestone reached. Conveyor belts
And then off she goes. I don't know why the texture is not loaded in, but
complexity and efficiency of your factory. We encourage you to
and it's
consider
gone.
more verticality when it comes to factory logistics to streamline short-range transportation. The product.
So I don't know why it's doing that visually for me right now, but it looks kind of funny. Okay, so now we have access. We go under logistics. We have conveyor mergers and conveyor splitters and conveyor lifts, but we're not going to be using those just yet. So we're going to come on over here to our iron setup. You don't need to unload everything. If you just deconstruct, it'll pull everything out for you. So we're just going to clear all those out for now. Okay, so it's time for a little bit of calculations. So first we're just going to find out how much we need per minute for iron ingots. So each smelter is going to want to be fed 30 iron ore per minute. So let's get rid of that really quick. If we get 60 out of here, we can actually feed 2 smelters at once. So we go 1, 2. Unfortunately, this time we won't be able to line them up perfectly. What you can actually do, so we take our splitter here, you're going to see the green arrows are the sides it's going to be exiting, and the orange is going to be the entrance. So we're going to line up the entrance with our smelter here. Mark 1 belt between the two. It should be a nice straight line now. Now for the smelters, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put them in the entrances facing towards us. We're going to put one roughly about there. Like I said, we can't really line these up just yet, but so in order to get a nice 90-degree turn, or about as close as we're going to try and get to it, because nothing snaps yet.
Milestone exchange concluded. FICSIT freighter re-entry.
Okay, so now we've got our miner Mark 1 split into 2 lines. It's going to split 50-50 into each one. We're going to set each of these to do iron ingots. So now each of these is going to give me 30 iron ore per minute. So now in the next stage of the line, we're going to add a constructor just for now. And one of these is going to be making iron plates. We get 30 iron ingots per minute. It requires 30 iron ingots per minute. So we're going to move this constructor over. It's going to add it on the hotbar. Holding control to line it up in a straight line. Air belt mark 1 between the 2. Iron plates. So now from this one, we're going to be doing the same. Holding control. Line the 2 up. We're going to set this one to make iron rods. So now we have a fully automated line making us iron plates and iron rods at the same time. We're just going to provide all this with some power. We're going to go 2 poles because they're going to need... It's going to need a couple things. So connect this up to our main power line. Connect those 2 together. And then off this one, we'll connect 1 smelter, 1 constructor. Off this one, 1 smelter, and 1 constructor. So that should fully power and fully automate iron plates and iron rods. Now we're also going to want a machine making screws, and instead of feeding it off this machine which is making the rods, because we always want to have access to rods, we're actually going to come back here. We're going to put a splitter Okay, sorry, I just had to move a couple of things there in order to make room for the double constructor we're actually going to be feeding these into. So roughly around there, not even close, but eventually, like I said, it'll be much cleaner with real 90-degree turns. So we're going to set both of these to iron rods. And then off of this one, where we're getting 15 iron rods per minute, we're going to put another constructor. We'll just kind of stick it there for now, so I don't have to move anything again. This constructor is going to get screws. It only needs 10 per minute. So we're actually going to dial this. Oh, I actually can't dial it. So it's going to get backed up for now. But that's where underclocking and overclocking everything is going to come in handy later on. Okay, so that is our basic starter iron line. So just to recap, we've got our miner Mark 1 feeding into a splitter, which feeds 2 smelters. The 1 smelter is off feeding the 1 constructor, which is giving us a bunch of iron plates. Second smelter goes into another splitter, which feeds 2 more constructors, both of which set to iron rods. And off of one of the constructors, we are feeding another constructor at the very end to make us screws. So it is all 3 basic things that we're going to need. Which means I can finally remember to do this. Start our iron line, complete. So now we're going to do something very similar for the copper line. I'm going to grab these machines from here. We're going to take it up on the hill and we're going to build one over there. So just before we head over to the copper, we're going to make sure we've topped up our biomass burners. And then we're going to make ourselves a quick to-do list for what we're going to need over there. So we're going to need at least 1 miner Mark 1. We're going to need 30 per minute, and that's going to give me 60, so we're going to need 2 smelters. 2 smelters. I believe it's 1 constructor for... Actually, let's find out. So we're gonna try making wire and cable from the same area. So this needs 15. And then that needs wire. So what's the output on this? 30. So I need at least 2. So we need 3 constructors. Oops, wrong one. 3 constructors, 1 miner, 2 smelters, and a bunch of logistics stuff. All right, here we are at the copper node. There's our little base back there. So we're gonna make use of this nice open area right here. We're gonna take our miner, we're gonna face it this way. This one I'm gonna build a little bit further away just so I have some room. So we're gonna build 1 splitter lined up with the smelter. That's gonna go into 2 smelters. I'll build it in this direction, it's a lot flatter. So we're gonna go 1 smelter, 2 smelter. This certainly won't be as pretty as we'd like it to be. We're just getting set up with our basic stuff and then we'll improve in the future. So 1 miner, sending out 60 copper ore per minute. Goes into 30 and 30. So these are going to go into making copper wire. How much do I get? 30 per minute. I only need 15 per minute. So technically I can make 4 of these. We're not going to though. We're just going to let it run it. We're going to let it run slightly inefficient for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 off this side where I'm actually going to be using it for copper wire. Actually, no, because we need 2. Okay, so yeah, let's do it. Let's do it that way. So we actually need this one and this one. I'm actually gonna need more constructors, I'm realizing. Because I'd like to have one by itself that makes wire. So I can actually like take what it'll be backed up, so I guess I can take what I need. Okay, so we're gonna feed Feed that one into there. That one into there. Then we're going to build a merger with the entrance going towards this final constructor. We can link those up. Put that one there. And that one on there. And this one will be our cable. So now all we're going to need to do is hook this up to some power. This gives 30 and 30, and this will give 30. So 30, 30, 60, which gives me 30 cable. Now what I would like to do is I would actually like to add another constructor coming off of one of these lines, just making me wire that Jesus. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to add a splitter off one of these lines to make the wire that I may need. So I think what I'll do is I'll cut off from this one. We'll add in a splitter. I'm gonna have to go back and get all the materials for making another, oops. Why not? Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay. Well, let's do... We'll clip it in just a bit. Should be okay. Oh, except it rotated on me. Clip it in just a little bit with that. Soft clippings. Okay, there we go. Now it'll fit. Okay, so if you hit the middle, if you look at something and you hit your middle mouse button, it'll copy it. But yeah, so I don't have the 2 reinforced plates I'm gonna need for this. We'll have to come back. But while I'm here, I might as well get all this power set up, right? So I'm gonna put one pole right here. That'll be responsible for you, you, and you. And then it'll also have to connect to another power line that we'll put here. That'll be responsible for our smelters. And one more line. Oh, I'm missing the concrete. Okay. So I need concrete and reinforced plates. Speaking of which, our next one that we're going to want to make sure we do, but right before base building, is actually going to be field research, because we really want access to this MAM and the map. So honestly, we'll dump in what we have here right now. 300 screws, 100 iron plates, and then we just have to come back with 300 copper wire, which we're actually working on. I think what I'll do instead of the space elevators, we'll get a quick concrete setup right here, so that we don't have to handmade concrete anymore. We can at least automate all our basics. Okay, so this power pole needs to be another power pole. It's going to connect to my miner here. So once this kicks on, this should be everything's set up good to go. So let's run some power poles down here. Send it about as far as it can go. Hopefully this doesn't give us a problem with our power. Where it's like, uh-oh, you are using too much power. We're trying to minimize the amount of machines. Jesus. We're trying to minimize the amount of machines we're using for right now, so that we don't have to build any extra biomass burners, but we're getting real close. In fact, our maximum consumption is way above now, so we're actually going to have to build our first biomass burner to add into the line. So we're going to go to power, we're going to go to biomass burner. We'll just put it here for now. I'll actually build 2, just to give us some extra Connect this to this. Power line 1. Power line 2. Make sure we have some biomass to fill these up. And each of these should add another 40 megawatts of power. So there we go. Now our maximum capacity is 100 megawatts, and we're only using half of it at our max. So now we should have no power issues for a few minutes. So in order to do a concrete line, we've already got our miner mark 1, and we don't need smelters for this one, so we actually need constructors. And I believe, let's figure it out. We actually need some more cables, which is perfect. We'll get those from up top. Now let's see how much this is going to output per minute. We only get 30 per minute, so I may actually only be able to do one constructor to start us off with, as I believe it is 30 concrete or 30 limestone per minute gives you 15 concrete per minute, if I'm not mistaken. So we're just going to run up to our line that seems to be working now. We got the plant manager watching. I think he's actually stuck in the splitter. So we come over here to grab some cables. Oh, I totally forgot we were going to do another this guy, because we want to be able to do just wires. There. Okay. Now the copper line is complete. So now we can go back down here and we can do our concrete line. So I believe it is just a single constructor. Needs 45 limestone per minute actually. So we actually can't even fill it with just this. So it's not going to be super efficient, but it'll work for now. We may have to feed it ourselves occasionally. But there we go. That's, I mean, to be fair, that's the concrete line. That's about all we can do for now. So let's go throw 300 copper wire into the research. And we'll hopefully get ourselves access to the MAM here. Which would be a perfect spot to be starting off the next episode. For probably what I would consider the most important thing you can do when starting off a fresh game is getting a hard drive. And hard drives come from crash sites, which I'll show you in a minute. Cool. Okay, so let's take you on over to one of the crash sites over here. I believe there's one just up over this hill. Now spread out around the map, you're going to be finding these crash sites everywhere. And a big boost that they're going to give you is, first they're going to have a little bit, here's one. So they're usually guarded by some guys, so make sure you got your Xeno Zapper at the ready. Obviously, like I said earlier, these guys are pretty straightforward and easy to deal with, so just kind of give them a few bonks. They might give you a bonk, that's totally fine. Oh, wasn't even paying attention, didn't hear you coming. Sir? Where are you going? Oh. Give him a few bonks. Take the remains. Did I get the other remains? I guess so. So yeah, scattered around, you'll find stuff like some reinforced iron plates. We get some free motors, some free wire. So this is super handy to get. You'll get even things that you don't have access to. Wow, I just got like 30 motors. That's pretty impressive. We're gonna be making use of those pretty soon. So around these crash sites, you'll find little scattered items that you're gonna need to use. Now you'll also find these pods that you're gonna need to open. Now for this one, for example, it needs 40 megawatts of power in order to open. Now obviously I can do that with just a biomass burner. If we go like this, connect it up. I only have a tiny little bit. Wait, do I have to provide it more than 40? I'm confused. Oh, I see. Wait, maybe I do need to connect with more than 40. Maybe it just needs enough fuel to get going, you know? How about that? Does that work? Nope. I don't... What? I'm a little confused. Maybe I'll make 2. And a power pole. I didn't think this would be I've definitely opened this with just one before. Okay, there we go. So now we can open this and we get ourselves a hard drive. So we're going to be using these hard drives to actually unlock alternate recipes. And the main, most important alternate recipe of all is something called the cast screws, which skips the step of making iron rods into screws, and it just immediately turns iron ore, or not iron ingots. Immediately turns iron ingots into screws, saving yourself an entire step, which is probably the most broken and important, overpowered alternate recipe in the entire game. All right, big red button time. Boom.
The map has been unlocked.
So now we can actually hit M and open up our map, and we can actually see where we are.
Milestone reached. The molecular analysis
As you can tell,
machine,
this map
referred to
is
as the
huge.
MAM, will allow R&D to provide new technologies, items, and to ensure a greater chance. Note.
Okay, so instead of ending this episode off with the space elevator, let's end this episode off actually building the MAM. And we can do a couple researches. So alien organisms, I have them right here. You only have to find, there's a few different things in the game. You only have to find one of them to start this research tree. So I believe by researching this, I can actually turn animal parts into biomass. And you also get access to, what are they called? It's like hot animal protein or something like that. Which will eventually get us a rebar gun. Absolutely beautiful. As well as more inventory slots, expanded tool belt. So we also have to do the same for the barrel nuts here. Which gets us another way down there. And then the power slug that I have, we can now research him. Power slugs. Which gives us access to power shards. And so for overclocking, all I need to do is I need one more slug and I have everything else. So let's do that really quick because underclock, we'll cover it more in the next episode, but at least for now we'll have access to it. There is a slug just kind of sitting up on the top shelf up there. We're gonna go grab him really quick. Now I believe there's another one of those hogs up here guarding it. I could be mistaken. Oh, there he is right there. So give me a fun opportunity to show you guys one of the most funny things that you can do with these guys in the game. We'll just kind of get him aggroed on us. I don't know where he went. Where'd he go? He already did it. I didn't even get to see it. Well, so if you line up them on an edge and you wait for them to charge you and you jump, they will just fling themselves up. We'll have to do that again. That didn't quite work like I wanted it to. Okay, so now we'll just hop down here. It's going to take fall damage. It shouldn't be too bad though. Yeah, only about half. So we're going to take this blue slug on over to our craft bench, and we can turn him into a power shard. Now we're going to take the power shard over to the MAM, and we're going to unlock overclocking and underclocking. So now when we go to machines like this constructor, for example, we can actually underclock it if it's not getting enough or if it's getting too many. We can adjust it to put out however many it needs to be doing. That way lines don't get backed up and stuff like that. So I actually need to overclock that miner right there to fix our concrete line. So I think now to finish it off, we'll just do, this will give us, you gotta wait about 10 minutes for these to finish off. So we're gonna click scan on that right now. You can also, if you're doing these out in the field, you can build a MAM, start the research, and then destroy it, and it'll still keep going. It's not a big deal. Okay, we are starting to use a lot more biofuel now that we've got so many more machines. We're actually using maximum consumption of 67 megawatts at the moment. I'll get these lines nice and flat eventually, but this is just kind of what happens when you're first starting out. So while we wait for the MAM to finish its research, let's run over and do a little bit more gathering for biofuel. Okay, we're back, and that should be enough biomass for quite some time now. We'll just refuel these. And I still have about 33 megawatts to play with. So I can still add a few machines. Each constructor uses, I believe, about 4. So you can have quite a few constructors going and everything. We've got 5 minutes left on the hard drive research. We're gonna go find ourselves another blue power slug so we can fix our concrete line. And I was gonna say, I believe I saw one not too far from that forest that we were just in. So we head back down in that direction. There's probably some closer ones too. I can never remember where they all are. There's quite a few of them spread throughout the game. So this one is about like about southeast from the base. Grab some nuts. Okay, so I think in order to get up onto this one, since we don't have base building unlocked yet, normally you could just build a ramp up to it. I think if we kind of climb this rock like this, we sprint jump across. Not quite. Okay, let me try that again. Okay, so line myself up with this. Much better. There we go. Okay, now we got ourselves another blue power slug. So let's head back on over to the base. Alright, back at base, we're gonna head on over to this crafting bench here, make a power shard. Take that power shard on over to the concrete line. And since you need 45 per minute, we'll stick the power shard in. We'll boost this. Be 45 parts per minute, which is 150 boost. 150% of the boost. The only thing you need to be careful with when you're doing overclocking is it uses a lot more power than it would normally. So just be aware. Always make sure you're checking in on your power lines. Make sure you're not going to blow a fuse or anything. Alright, so just to recap our very first episode, we got through the tutorial, we built our hub and fully upgraded it, we've started our iron line to give us every basic thing we need, we've started our copper line up above to give us every basic thing we need from there, and we've also got our concrete line finally working to its best ability. So now, as we bring this episode to a close, I appreciate you guys watching the first one. I'm really excited to keep this series going. I'm going to try and aim to do every Tuesday and Thursday. We're going to go to the MAM. We're going to cross our fingers that we see cast screws when we open this up. If not, I guess we're going to have to keep on the hunt. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Now, I'm going to take the iron wire just because out of all three of these, I don't necessarily need any of them, but this one just gives you the option if you ever need copper in a place that doesn't actually have a copper node, you're good to go. Now, unfortunately, we didn't get cast screws, but we're going to end this episode off there. I appreciate you guys being here. I'll see you guys in the next one.